well, my husband says I can't do that or I have to ask her permission. And I'm like, girl, just do it. Just join the book club. Just slay the vampire. Just do it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my July wrap up. So I'm going to be talking about the 15 books I read in the month of July. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. Make sure you leave me some recommendations below for me to read in the month of August. Thanks. So the first book I read this month was The Water Cure by Sophie McIntosh. This book is not a book that I would normally read, but I did read it for a book club that I am a part of. It has like cult vibes. It's supposed to be a feminist book, but I didn't really get that. It's pretty much a book talking about how all men are bad and these 3 women and how they survive it. I gave that book a 2 out of 5. It was hard for me to get through it just because I felt like everything you had to read more into it than what was on the page. And because I read for fun, that was not a lot of fun for me. The second book I read this month was the 7th Harry Potter book, The Deathly Hallows. I finally finished Harry Potter. This was my first time ever reading it. I am about to be 30, that's a lie, I'm going to be 29. But I never read it as a child, so this year I set out to read all 7 books and I finally got it done. This series as a whole just found a place in my heart. I didn't think that I would like it. I tried reading it before, like 5 years ago, and I just wasn't into it. I only got until the 2nd book, but this time I was able to read all 7 books, watch all of the movies, and I am now a Harry Potter fan. After I finished Harry Potter, I felt like I needed to find another series. I decided to read The Selection by Kiera Cass. Also, I felt like I didn't do my teenage self justice by not reading all of these YA books. I guess I felt like I missed out. So I read The Selection, and it's a trilogy. There are other novellas to it, but I haven't read those. I might read them, but I hear they're not that great and I don't want to ruin it. I really like The Selection. The 3 books are The Selection, The Elite, and The One. It was just kind of like when you watch TV that you know is not good TV, but you can't stop watching. That's how I felt about these books. They were so entertaining for probably bad reasons. This book is a mix of, in my mind, it's kind of like The Hunger Games without killing people just go home meets The Bachelor, and I hate The Bachelor, so I'm surprised I love this. It was good. I liked it. My favorite was definitely the last book. The 2nd book was kind of a dud, but I guess we needed to get the story along. The 4th book I read was 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swan, and I gave this book a 3 out of 5. It's about a blog. It's about a guy who owns a bookstore, and he writes a blog where he makes a list of what he thinks are 8 perfect murders that exist in books, in murder mysteries. And what happens is a detective comes to talk to him because somebody is playing out each one of these murders. So there's like a copycat out on the loose for all of these different types of murders, and they're trying to figure out who did it. And I thought it was really cool that it talked about other books that actually exist. The pace of it was kind of weird for me. Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book was so cute. It was a really good book. It's adorable. It's about a girl who has an autoimmune disease and she is not able to go outside or be around other people. She will get very sick and die. And then of course, there's a boy who moves in across the street. Things happen. But I really enjoyed the book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. After that, I read Shout by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is a memoir. I didn't know it was a memoir when I picked it up. Apparently, I didn't even look at what I was buying. This is a memoir of the author who wrote the book Speak. I read Speak in high school, but I haven't read it recently. There was some parts in it that were in a different language, which was very interesting to me. It was a good book. It hit a lot of good points. This is when the reading rush started, and I read 6 out of 7 books that I set out to read for the reading rush. I'm gonna go through these quickly because I already made 2 other videos. I read My Sister the Serial Killer, I gave this one a 3 out of 5. It's about two sisters. One of them that's a serial killer, and the other one is who helps her clean it up. And it's just a story about them. I read Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, but it was so good. It's about a haunted house. I was very scared while reading it, which was great. I guess that's what I was looking for. I really loved it. I did give it 5 out of 5. I read The Notebook. I was disappointed. It's really unfortunate. Previously, I have really enjoyed books by Nicholas Sparks. I just didn't enjoy this one, and I think it was because I already know the movies so well, and it was hard for me to get into this. And also, I have already taken a liking to the characters that the movie made to be, and that was not the case in the book. However, if you have not read The Wedding, which is, it's not a second book to this, it talks about Noah and Allie. I want to say it's like their grandchildren or something. One of them's a grandchild. The Wedding is a really good book. I recommend you read that one. Becoming by Michelle Obama. This was a monster to read during the reading rush, but I loved it. It's my new favorite book. Not really. It is my favorite memoir. I haven't read a lot, but this one was a good one. I felt so inspired after reading this. I smiled so much while reading it. I laughed. I remembered great things that happened in the world. I also felt really bad for Michelle and things she had to go through, things that people still go through today. So I think this was a great read. Next book is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I originally said I gave this 5 stars. This is a book about Chloe and Redford, who goes by Red. It is an enemies to lovers book, and when I read this during the reading rush, I was like, oh my god, this is a 5-star book. I don't know what was wrong with me, why I didn't like the first 100 pages, but then I love the rest. I know why, because it's an enemies to lovers, and I hate enemies to lovers, and the part that I hated was when they were enemies. But I love the lovers part, so 4.5 out of 5. I'm excited to read the second book. Get a hint, Dani Brown, because I hear that one's just like a friends to lovers, which I'm more about. Also, this book is steamy, so if you're not into that, you might not be into this. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I enjoyed this book. It follows 2 girls, and it is dual perspective, so you get a little bit from each. One of the girls lives in the Dominican and the other one lives in New York, and they lose a dad on a plane crash, and they don't know each other exist. So it's kind of their story of grief and finding each other and just meeting your sister for the first time. It does have some Spanglish in it, and I really enjoyed that because I speak Spanish, so it was pretty cool. I just borrowed the audiobook from my library, and I'm excited to reread it, even though I literally just read it last month. The book I didn't finish for the reading rush was the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, and I read it because I needed to read it for a book club that I'm in. I don't know what I was expecting. Actually, I do know what I was expecting. Vampires in book clubs. It was different. It was set in the 90s, so it gave me, if you've ever watched the movie Now and Then, it kind of gave me those vibes where like the kids just play outside and they play in these cul-de-sacs and it's so much fun and everybody's just happy. I did not like the guy who was the vampire, which I know we're not supposed to like vampires, but Twilight. Like Edward Cullen. Like, can all my vampires be dreamy? I don't know. Anyways, it was very prominent that men rule the world in whatever world this is. So I didn't like that there was a lot of like, it's a book club with women and they talk about their husbands, and a lot of them are like, well, my husband says I can't do that, or I have to ask her permission. And I'm like, girl, just do it. Just join the book club. Just slay the vampire. Just do it. It was interesting. I forgot to film an outro, so here we go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and please come back next week. I'm thinking about uploading on Saturdays and Wednesdays.
We see you. Bye.